My sister looked me in the eye and said, "You can cry later. This day belongs to me," while stealing my wedding venue and date. She had no idea who my fiancé really was. The truth destroyed her entirely. "You don't mind rescheduling, right? It's just a small wedding. Mine's going to be a real event." That was the exact sentence my younger sister, Talia, said to me 3 weeks before my wedding, after she stole my venue, my date, and the last bit of respect I had left for my family. My name is Nora Sinclair. I'm 35, a professor of visual arts at a small liberal arts college in Portland. I'm not flashy, I don't chase trends, and I certainly don't have thousands of followers hanging on my every filtered selfie. That's Talia's world. She's 28, a beauty and lifestyle influencer, whatever that really means these days. My parents adore her, always have. I'm the quiet one, the one who chose stability over ambition. Their words, not mine. I got engaged last fall to Julian, an architectural designer I met at a guest lecture. He was kind, soft-spoken, and saw value in things others overlooked, like me. We fell in love over black coffee, sketchbooks, and long rainy walks along the Willamette River. When we decided to get married, I didn't want anything extravagant. I chose a local art gallery that hosts intimate weddings. It was the place Julian first told me he loved me. The gallery was small but meaningful, and we booked it over a year in advance for May 20th at 3 p.m. Everything was planned. The invites were sent. The florist, the caterer, even my dress, custom made by a former student. It was going to be our day. And then Talia called. She said she had big news and insisted we have a family dinner at our parents' house. I should have known something was off the moment I walked in and saw champagne already popped. Talia was glowing, practically bouncing in her seat. My parents beamed at her like she had just announced world peace. "I'm getting married," she squealed, "to Aiden." That's her boyfriend of 6 months. A flashy advertising exec with perfect teeth and a Porsche parks like it's a personality. "That's fast," I managed to say, trying to hide my confusion. "Oh, and guess what? We're getting married on May 20th. Isn't that crazy?" I froze. "What do you mean, May 20th? I asked slowly. "That's my wedding day." Talia giggled, like I had told a joke. "I know. But you didn't copyright the date, Nora. Besides, you can reschedule, right? Your wedding's just small. Ours is going to be huge. We booked the Armitage Hotel. Aiden's uncle pulled strings to get us the ballroom. It was the only available date." My heart dropped. The Armitage was one of the most exclusive venues in the city. But more importantly, why my date? I looked at my parents. Surely they'd say something, defend me. But my father just shrugged. "Maybe it's best if you adjust. Talia's wedding will have more guests, more press. It's better for the family." "Press?" My mom chimed in too. "Nora, don't be difficult. Your ceremony is more personal. You can move it to the next weekend. Everyone will understand." I didn't understand. I sat there blinking, as my family essentially erased my wedding in real time. I stood up. "I'm not rescheduling. We planned this over a year ago." Talia's smile faded. "Don't be selfish." I felt like screaming. Instead, I just grabbed my bag and walked out the door, my mother calling after me. "Think about what's best for the family." That night, I told Julian everything. He didn't say much. Just listened, held my hand, and said, "We'll figure this out." And I believed him. I wanted to believe him. But the very next morning, I received a phone call from the gallery coordinator. "Nora, I'm so sorry, but we've just been informed of a last-minute change. The gallery is no longer available on May 20th. My breath caught. "What? Why?" There was a pause. "It was booked under Talia Sinclair's name. My sister had literally taken my venue." I dropped the phone. My hands were shaking. I felt like the world tilted sideways, and I was the only one falling. That was the moment I realized this wasn't just a coincidence. Talia wasn't just taking my date, she was trying to erase me. But she had no idea who Julian really was and what we were about to do next. I stood in the middle of our tiny kitchen, gripping the edge of the counter like it was the only thing keeping me upright. The words from the gallery coordinator still echoed in my ears. It was booked under Talia Sinclair's name. She hadn't just stolen my date. She had taken the exact venue Julian and I had poured our hearts into, the place where we first met. The place I envisioned walking down the aisle, surrounded by people who knew our story. And she took it like it was nothing. Julian walked in with 2 coffees, but paused the moment he saw my face. I didn't have to say a word. "She took the gallery," I said, my voice barely a whisper. Julian set the cups down and crossed the room in 2 steps. "We'll find another place," he said gently. "No," I replied. "You don't get it. This wasn't about logistics. This was personal." She waited until everything was set, then she made her move. I knew Talia. Her smile was sweet but hollow, and behind it lived a need to be the center of everything. She wasn't satisfied unless the spotlight burned bright and everyone else disappeared into shadow. And in our family, That spotlight was hers by birthright. When I told my parents about what had happened, their reaction was exactly what I expected. "Well, maybe you should have finalized the deposit earlier," Dad said dismissively. "I did." She outbid it. Mom didn't even pretend to be sorry. "It's just a venue, Nora. It's not worth causing drama between sisters. Be the bigger person? The bigger person. Always me. Always the quiet one. The mature one. The one who bent so others could shine. Except this time, something in me snapped. I stopped answering Talia's texts. I blocked her on Instagram. And when she posted her dream venue reveal with photos of the very room I once called my own, I deleted the wedding board I had been building for a year. I went to Julian and told him, "I don't want to do this anymore." He looked up from his sketchpad. "Do what?" "Pretend like everything's fine. Pretend like I can just smile through it while they erase me." Julian didn't say anything for a long time. He simply closed his sketchpad, stood up, and reached for his phone. "Come with me," he said. We drove for almost an hour in silence. I didn't ask where we were going. I think part of me didn't care. I was so exhausted, mentally, emotionally, like my heart had been scooped out and left somewhere on the gallery floor. Eventually, we pulled up to a gate lined with ivy. A security guard opened it the moment he saw Julian. "Where are we?" I finally asked. Julian just smiled. "Somewhere no one can take from you." We turned down a long stone driveway and arrived at a private art estate. I'm talking a sprawling modern glass pavilion nestled in forest with indoor gallery wings, private gardens, and a reflection pool that looked like it had been designed by some architectural god. "Julian, what is this place?" He turned to me with a calmness I had never seen before. "I own it." I blinked. "What?" "I haven't been completely honest with you, Nora," he said. "I design for myself. I have a studio, investments. I've kept a low profile because I've seen how people change when money enters the room." I stared at him speechless. He continued, "This is my personal gallery, and if you want it, it's yours. For the wedding. For anything." I sat there in stunned silence. He wasn't trying to impress me. He was giving me something more valuable than a venue. He was giving me choice, dignity, power. My eyes welled up, but I forced a smile. "Talia's going to lose her mind." Julian smirked. "She has no idea what's coming." And just when I thought the emotional roller coaster had peaked, it plunged again. That night, I got a notification on my phone. Aiden, Talia's fiancé, had just followed me on Instagram, which was odd because we'd never spoken. Then, a DM. "You deserve better than what they did to you. Can we talk?" I stared at my phone for a full minute. "You deserve better than what they did to you. Can we talk?" From Aiden, Talia's fiancé. At first, I thought it had to be a mistake. Maybe he meant to send it to someone else, or maybe he was just trying to stir the pot. But the message sat there, deliberate, clear. Julian walked in just as I locked the screen. "You okay?" he asked, handing me a glass of wine. I forced a nod. "Yeah, just trying to process everything." I didn't tell him about the message. Not yet. Instead, I replied to Aiden with a single word. "Why?" He answered almost instantly. "Because I'm not blind. I see what's happening, and I'm starting to wonder if I'm the next one being used." That hit like a punch to the chest. Not because I cared about Aiden, but because I knew that feeling. That exact moment when you realize someone you love might be manipulating you, not supporting you. He asked if we could meet. Nothing weird, just coffee, somewhere public. Against my better judgment, I agreed. We met the next afternoon at a cafe near downtown. I wore sunglasses and a hoodie, praying no one would recognize me. He showed up in a charcoal blazer, looking more like a man on a job interview than a romantic fiancé. He sat down and didn't waste time. "I didn't know she stole your venue," he said. "She told me it was available, that you decided to delay your wedding for budget reasons." I almost laughed. "She lied, obviously." He sighed and rubbed his face. "That's what I'm starting to realize. This whole wedding, it's like a marketing campaign for her. Everything's about the optics. She keeps pushing for me to get sponsorships for the ceremony. She even hired a videographer who's worked on reality shows." I felt my stomach twist. "Last week, she asked if we could pretend to have met at a beach in Bali, so it sounds more exotic." "What?" I choked. "Yeah, she said our real story wasn't share-worthy enough." We sat in silence for a moment, the noise of clinking cups and background music muffled by the pressure building in my chest. And then, Aiden leaned in. "I also found out something else," he whispered. "She has a burner phone." I blinked. "Excuse me." "She hides it in her makeup drawer. I saw her texting someone late at night, laughing, deleting messages. When I asked, she got defensive, said I was paranoid." I stared at him, cold realization flooding my veins. "You think she's cheating?" He shrugged. "I don't know, but I don't trust her anymore, and I can't ignore this sick feeling that I'm just another prop in her perfect image." I didn't know what to say. I had expected drama, sure, but this was unraveling faster than I could track. As we parted, Aiden looked me dead in the eye. Whatever you're planning, I want to help. That night, I told Julian everything. The messages, the meeting, the burner phone. To my surprise, he didn't look angry. He looked ready. This is exactly why we don't back down, he said. They wanted to humiliate you. Now we show them who you really are. The next few days were a whirlwind. Julian made calls. Quiet ones. Discreet ones. He asked me to trust him, and I did. Then came the invitations. Ours went out first, hand-delivered, beautifully printed, with gold leaf detail and custom calligraphy. But there was more. Every single one included a private RSVP code linked to a luxury estate venue. The Redwood Pavilion. A place I'd never even heard of until Julian showed me. But apparently, in his circle, it was the venue. People were already talking. And then it happened. Talia called me after weeks of silence. She wasn't angry. She was smug. Hey, sis, she cooed. Just wanted to let you know we're releasing our wedding trailer on social media this weekend. Thought you'd want a heads up since, yours might look a bit underwhelming in comparison. I said nothing. Just let her talk. But 2 days later, before she could drop her big video, she was scooped. An industry blog posted a leaked guest list for our wedding, including several A-list names. It went viral in hours. Then, Talia's worst nightmare showed up at her doorstep. She messaged me in all caps, "Why is Aiden refusing to finalize our guest list? What did you tell him?" I didn't reply, because at that exact moment, Julian was in the studio, printing the final seating chart, and one seat was reserved for a very special guest. The editor-in-chief of the magazine, Talia, has been begging to feature her in for years. Comment the number 2 if you want to know what happens when Talia sees who stole her spotlight for good. I always imagined my wedding day would feel magical. Turns out, revenge feels even better. The morning of our wedding arrived with an eerie calm. Portland skies were clear, sunlight pouring through the trees surrounding the Redwood Pavilion. The air was cool, crisp, and buzzing with something electric. For the first time in weeks, I felt completely steady. My phone vibrated nonstop with notifications, text messages, missed calls, Instagram tags. Talia had finally seen the article. Architectural heir Julian Redwood to marry local artist at secret estate event. A list guests confirmed. She had no idea Julian came from the Redwood family. No clue that the venue she had tried to steal was nothing compared to the one we now controlled. No idea that the small, quiet girl she spent her life overshadowing was about to stand in front of Portland's elite and shine like hell. And she definitely didn't know who else was coming. By noon, the estate grounds were filled with guests arriving in luxury cars. Celebrities from the art world, architects, media personalities, even the governor's wife. Julian greeted them like it was second nature. I stayed inside, watching from the bridal suite window in silent disbelief. Then came the knock. It was Aiden. He looked sharp, clean suit, calm face, but his hands trembled when he handed me a small velvet box. "What's this?" I asked. "A little insurance," he said, glancing at the door to make sure no one was listening. "She doesn't know I kept it." Inside was a flash drive. Aiden leaned closer. "Texts, voice recordings, video, proof she planned to sabotage your wedding, admitted it was revenge for you stealing attention, and tried to bribe the gallery coordinator to bump you off the calendar." My throat went dry. "She told me the only way she could shine was if your light was off," he added, eyes dark. "She didn't just want to marry me, she wanted to beat you." I clutched the flash drive. "Why are you giving me this?" "Because I'm done being used," he said quietly, "and because part of me hopes this ends with her learning something." Julian appeared a few moments later, calm, composed. "It's time." The ceremony began exactly at 2 p.m., the time Talia had claimed as hers. But today it was mine. I walked down the aisle to the sound of a string quartet, through rows of people I never imagined would be here for me. My dress flowed like water, my heart beat steady. When I reached Julian, he took my hand like it was already home. But the real moment, the revenge, came during the reception. Julian stood for his toast, glass in hand. "Thank you all for joining us on this incredible day," he began. "Today isn't just about love. It's about truth, about integrity, and about standing up when someone tries to silence you." The room hushed. He continued, "My wife, my brilliant, kind, resilient wife, had her wedding nearly stolen from her. The venue, the date, even her dignity. But instead of shrinking, she rose." He looked at me. I nodded. Julian gestured toward the AV team in the corner. "And today," he said, "we'd like to share the full story." The screen behind us lit up. Talia's voice played over the speakers. "She'll cancel. She always does. She's soft. That gallery's mine. I don't care what it takes." Gasps echoed through the hall. Then came screenshots of her text to the coordinator, screenshots of her telling Aiden, "This is my year. She can cry later." Some guests looked horrified. Others nodded in recognition. They'd seen this kind of cruelty before, wrapped in charm, glossed over by a pretty face. Then the final clip played a secret video Aiden had recorded Talia laughing with her friend. "If she really cared about that guy she'd step aside. She's not even marrying for love, Julianne. He's just some artsy dude with no money. My wedding is the real deal." The video cut out. Silence followed. Then, applause. Thunderous. Long. Relentless. And that's when the doors burst open. Talia stood at the back of the room, her makeup smeared, still in her custom gown, alone. She looked around, saw the eyes, the judgment, the truth. Then her mother stepped forward, my mother, and said loudly, "Talia, enough, leave." Everyone turned. Talia's face crumpled. "What? You've embarrassed this family enough," Mom said. "This isn't your day." And just like that, the golden child was outcasted by the very people who once worshipped her. She ran out in tears. 3 days after the wedding, I got a letter. Not an email, not a text, a real envelope. Handwritten, no return address. Inside was a single sheet of paper. "This isn't over. You stole everything from me. Just wait." I should have been afraid, but I wasn't, because by that point, Talia had already lost the two things she valued most, her image and her control. After the wedding video went viral, especially the part where she mocked Julian and admitted to sabotaging my plans, her sponsorships dropped like flies. Her management agency issued a public statement cutting ties. And the luxury skincare brand she was launching a collaboration with? Gone. The final blow came from Aiden. He released a quiet, dignified announcement saying the engagement had been canceled due to irreconcilable values. He even donated the deposit they'd put down for their canceled wedding to a women's shelter in Nora's name. Meanwhile, Julian and I were receiving messages from people all over the country, artists, designers, even students I hadn't spoken to in years, thanking me for standing up to the kind of quiet cruelty so many people let slide. But just when I thought it was all behind us, Talia tried again. She showed up at my university. I was mid-lecture when my department had knocked and pulled me into the hallway. "She's here," he whispered. "Says it's urgent." I walked into the faculty lounge and found her pacing like a trapped animal. She looked nothing like the girl from social media. Her hair was messy. Her designer coat was buttoned wrong. Her nails, usually perfect, were chipped and raw at the edges. "Nora," she snapped, "you need to fix this." I blinked. "Excuse me, you ruined my life. That video, you had no right." It was a private conversation. "It was you, Talia," I said calmly. "Your words, your actions." She stepped closer. "I had everything, and now I'm nothing. Are you happy?" "No," I replied softly. "I'm not happy you're suffering. I'm just finally done being the one who always steps aside." She stared at me like she didn't recognize me, and maybe she didn't. I wasn't the sister she used to toy with. I was someone who had finally chosen herself. But then she made her final mistake. She lunged toward me, grabbed my wrist, and screamed, "I'll make sure you lose it all too." Campus security was called. There were witnesses, a professor, 2 students, and security footage. Later that week, I filed a restraining order. The news hit local press. Former influencer accused of threats, public breakdown at university. From what I've heard, she's moved back in with our parents. The same from what I've heard, she's moved back in with our parents. The same parents who finally told her to get help instead of defending her behavior. She deleted all her social media. Her accounts are gone. Her name, once a trending tag, now draws silence. And me? Julian and I just returned from our honeymoon in Florence. The sun, the art, the quiet cafes, it was everything I dreamed of and more. My department offered me a promotion. I'm launching a program to help young artists who've been bullied out of their creative paths. At night, I look at Julian and realize, I didn't just get justice, I got freedom. Freedom from comparison, from manipulation, from being the shadow in someone else's spotlight. Talia tried to take everything from me, but in the end, she gave me everything I needed, a reason to finally choose myself. And I'll never give that back. Comment the number 2 if you think Talia got what she deserved. And don't forget to subscribe if you want more true revenge stories like this one.